What's good, you guys? We're back again with another video. The Milwaukee Bucks have the best team in the NBA. So I've been wanting to do a Milwaukee Bucks video for the longest time, but I decided to just wait because they were going on that big win streak, and I decided like when they finally lose, and I'll make a video about them, because even though they lost on Saturday against the Philadelphia 76ers, my opinion about them is still the same. So they just went on a 16-game winning streak, partially without Jrue Holiday, partially without, not Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, partially without Giannis, and they were just dominant the whole way. Many parts I want to talk about this team though. First part I want to talk about is their depth. They have a crazy amount of depth, and I know we look at teams like the Pelicans when it comes to depth when they're fully healthy. We look at teams like the Clippers when it comes to depth. They're 13 deep. We look at teams like the Celtics when it comes to depth, especially the stuff that they added in the trade deadline with Mike Muscala. And then this offseason you get Malcolm Brogdon. Like, they have a lot of depth. You still got guys that don't play like Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, who on any other team would be a decent backup point guard. Luke Cornett, even with when he had the minutes when Al Horford was in and out the lineup, Rod Wood wasn't in the lineup, Luke Cornett was pretty good. But we never really talk about the Milwaukee Bucks, and I never understand that. Like, just count right now, when I look at the Bucks here, and they have Giannis, Chris Middleton, Jrue Holiday, you're at core 3, and you have Brook Lopez, who to me as of right now is the defensive player of the year. A month ago was probably a little crazy, but like watching the Bucks a little bit more and then seeing how dominant they was in the 16-game stretch, he's right back at number 1. Grayson Allen, who just had 6 threes in a quarter. Jay Crowder, they just picked up, which is a huge addition. We will talk about that. Marjan Buchem, who doesn't get that much time when he plays, he's pretty good for them. Joe Ingles will also be a talking point in this video. Jevon Carter, Bobby Portis, Pat Connaughton, Wesley Matthews, Goran Dragic. Those last three names don't sound that big, but when it comes to little minutes in the playoffs, they can be huge for this team. They're 13 deep. And that's something I didn't really think about. And I feel bad for Coach Bud, because like we all know, he's not the smartest coach, even though he's made his own improvements this year. As probably a 10-year coach, he's made his own improvements this year. I feel bad for coaches like him and coaches like others that just have a lot of guys that should be able to play. Like, to be honest, Wesley Matthews won't get that much minutes in the playoffs. Marjan Buchem's too young, but he's still a good enough player to get minutes. Same thing with Wesley Matthews. He's still a good enough player to get minutes, but they just won't. Especially in the playoffs, because you got to cut the rotation down to 8 or 9. So I feel bad for him, because he has a lot of hard decisions to make, because this is a deep team. And just talking about their depth, that's no hard thing to say. But you got Pat Connaughton, who started off pretty slow, but has been shooting the lights out as of late. They actually put him in the starting lineup, which I believe they're doing that just so they can get Chris Middleton ramped up. Jay Crowder, who's most likely going to be in the starting lineup in the playoffs, ramped up. And then when they're ramped up, Pat Connaughton he's going to go back to his role. You just got Goran Dragic. Now, I like this role for him, mostly because you don't know if he's going to play. But when he does play, he's a very good pick and roll partner. They didn't really have that in Chicago. That's why he looked so bad. The last time he looked good, he was playing next to Bam. You could put him next to Giannis. That pick and roll is going to be good. I think he's going to be pretty decent for this team. But then again, if he's bad, you don't have to play him. Bobby Portis, off the top of the dome, is him and Malcolm Brogdon for 6th man of the year. Dude's averaging a double-double. Doesn't get talked about enough. Bobby Portis can go on any other team and be a starting power forward, but he's just not selfish. He's going to come off the bench, and that's a role that's perfect for him. I believe he's still averaging 14 and 10. It might have dipped down to 9, but still, damn near double-double from him. Jevon Carter, hopefully, Coach Bud doesn't make the mistake of playing a guy like George Hill, or in this case, Goran Dragic over you, just because they're veteran players. Jevon Carter just means so much with the team, especially when you pair him next to Jrue Holiday. This is a backcourt the other backcourt wouldn't feel comfortable dribbling on. And he's just a pest. He's a pest, and he can shoot, and that's all you need. That's why he has a role with this team. And if he finds his way off this team, he's going to have a role anywhere else in the NBA, because he's a pest and he can shoot, and that's what you need to be in the NBA: effort and shooting. Like I said, Marjan Buchem won't get that much time. Grayson Allen, shooter. Just does hope he doesn't play like he did last year, where he wasn't doing his job. Jay Crowder, that's a huge addition. They didn't really have, and I wouldn't even say he's an elite perimeter defender, but like bodies on the perimeter. Like, you take out Jay Crowder, you really just got Chris Middleton. And you can put out Jevon Carter, because like I said, he's a really good defender. But having a veteran like Jay Crowder, especially when the rotation gets shortened and you only got 8 to 9 guys playing, that's going to be really big for them. And he has been shooting pretty good in the first 5 or 6 games that he's played. Brook Lopez, like I said, defensive player of the year. One guy I want to talk about, Joe Ingles. First of all, forget how he fits on the team, just his game in general. Joe Ingles is so cold. He's so cold as a basketball player, as a hooper. And it might be odd to say he's one of the best watches in the league. I can watch Joe Ingles all day. But then you pair him next to Giannis, it's like, dog, what? Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but like when the Utah Jazz was doing their thing when Donovan Mitchell was at number one, Rudy Gobert and Joe Ingles had the number one pick and roll as far as stats, and as far as watching the game, they were the number one, the best pick and roll in the league, and it was Joe Ingles and Rudy Gobert. Now you have Joe Ingles and Giannis, and it's been the same thing basically. The same thing. He's also been shooting it well. I love how he always talks shit. I love it. It's a person you wouldn't really think talks shit, but he does it, and I love it. I love watching Joe Ingles play, and I feel like he's going to be so perfect for this team, especially if you got a game where like Jrue's not playing well. You just put in Joe Ingles, who can play the point for you guys, and that's just a perfect fit. Can play all ball, on ball. Not a bad defender. He has kind of slowed down since he came back from, I believe, the torn ACL, but he's not a bad defender at all still. So I think that's a huge part of this team. Now, talk about the big three. Chris Middleton's kind of getting back into things, but he still looked like Chris Middleton. Doesn't really look like a dropper off. The only thing that's dropping off is his minutes, which Coach Bud says down the line he will be starting again. Which they got to do that soon. He only got like 20 games left. Ramp him up. You don't want to have him playing 15 to 25 minutes a game for the rest of the season. Then when he gets to the playoffs, you're gonna throw him in there for 35 to 40. No, ramp him up now. So that's something that Coach Bud has to do. But Chris Middleton looks just like Chris Middleton. Also a really fun game to watch in the post, especially with the footwork, the shot. His playmaking is still there, so that's good. Now, we're going to talk about their second guy. Yes, I said their second guy, Jrue Holiday. Now, I've always been a Jrue Holiday guy. To be honest, this is his best year. Counting stats may look better in other years. This is his best year. Defense-wise, still the best perimeter defender in the league. By far, it's not a person that comes close. Not at all. If you think of Marcus Smart, I will smack you in your face. I love a defender that doesn't flop. And that's just Jrue. That's Jrue. That's the whole team. They don't really have floppers on this. Jay Crowder. But I love a defender that doesn't flop. And Jrue just does it the best. He gets around screens the best. He's one-on-one the best. Moves his feet the best. Guards you with his hips. He's so strong. You can barely like post him up. Even big guys have trouble posting him up. He's just a perfect player on defense. Like, I've never seen a guard that's 6'3" that I can say, go ahead, put him on the big. Fuck it. Like, I can do that with him. And he's not going to flop to get stops. No. Because you be like, oh, Marcus Smart. Yeah, he'll do it, but he'll flop to get a stop. And then when that flop doesn't work, they get a wide open dunk. You're not doing that with Jrue. Drew's stronger. Drew's smarter. His hands is quicker. And that's it. Jrue is an elite defender, bro. One of the best we've ever seen. He won't get the credit because his name is Jrue Holiday. But one of the best we have ever seen. One of the best in this era. And one of the best we've ever seen. Now in offense, like I said, best year of his career. Still one of the leaders in fourth quarter points. Very clutch player. Very clutch player. I question it in the playoffs. Even though I'm the Jrue guy, I question it in the playoffs because the last 2 years haven't been that good. But he did show when it matters. Game 6, Game 5 in the finals. Game 5 and 6 in the conference finals. And then last year, Game 6, he showed up. So he does show up when they need him. But I question the consistency of that because now you are officially the number 2 until Chris Middleton is back to being Chris Middleton. So I question that, but he still has been scoring and super consistent, super efficient, especially. It dipped a little bit since last year. He's at like 48. He was at 51 last year, but the three-point shot has gotten better. To me, his playmaking has gotten way better, especially in the pick and roll. I think he's seeing the game well, and that's crazy to say for a guy that's 32 that he's still getting better. So them two, you take out Chris, Giannis and Jrue could still win the championship. That's just how perfect of a 1-2 punch they are. I love their 1-2 punch. And then, like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on Giannis, the best player in the world by far. Jokic, shout out to you. Steph, until you get healthy, shout out to you. KD, shout out to you. Giannis is the best by far. And what I mean by far is I don't see a real argument for anybody else. Only one I maybe see is Steph because he just won last year. But he's still kind of trying to get back into himself. And when he was starting the first month and a half of the season, when he was having the best season of his career by far, I was taking it. But now he got 2 big injuries, so I pulled back. Now, Giannis, you're the best by far. So, Giannis is the best by far. His playmaking has also been very good this season. I think he's taken a step up on defense. I think last year, the last 2 years, after the defense player of the year, the defense started to become a little bit overrated. But I think he stepped it up this season, especially on the perimeter. He's starting to switch a lot more than he usually does. And I like that. I like that from Giannis. But then we just look at the team. Like I said, I don't want to make this video super long. I made a video like this last year. And it was titled, I don't see nobody beating the Bucks in 7 games. I'm not going to title it the same thing, but I feel the same way. It's something about this team. They don't have glaring flaws. Like a couple months ago, yeah, half court was a flaw. But now your shooters are shooting. Chris Middleton is back. Jrue Holiday. Giannis was out of that funk that he was a couple months ago. Half court's not a flaw. Y'all top 15 offense on the come up to be in the top 10 offense. You were already the best defense in the league. When we're looking at other teams around them, Cavs, 3-point shooting, flaw. Celtics, when that 3-point shooting not shooting, or when it's not hitting, what are they doing? Flaw. Philly, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Doc Rivers, playoffs, flaw. On the other side, Nuggets, playoff defense, not regular season defense, playoff defense, flaw. Grizzlies, young, dumbass, flaw. The other teams, Warriors, small, flaw, but you are the Warriors and it hasn't stopped you since. But like a lot of teams have flaws. When we looking at them, tell me, what is their flaw? You can say coach, that's a 2020-21 Twitter take. Like Coach Bud has made improvements. They're not letting shooters shoot open shots. They're running shooters off the line and they're giving them to Brook Lopez and he's just having his way. So what are their flaws? I don't see nothing. That used to be a questionable flaw. It's not anymore. Health? I guess. This is Chris Middleton's first year really getting hurt like that. Giannis doesn't get hurt, and when he does, he plays. Jrue is an Iron Man. Bobby Portis did have an injury that kept him out, but still, like, they don't have a flaw. I'm still trying to think. I'm thinking while talking. I don't see a single flaw, man. They got it all, man. They have it all. Elite defense, starting to be an elite offense. Elite shooters, real shooters that can give me 6 or 7 threes a game. Not a game, but out of nowhere that can use 6 or 7 threes. A lot of teams don't have that. This Bucks teams have no flaws. I don't see anybody in the East beating them. I will pick them in 6 against the Celtics. That's just how good I think that the Bucks have been, especially since the Celtics have been #1 all season. I just think the Bucks is different from last year. Giannis practically carried by himself. He's a different player from last year. Brook Lopez is a different demon from last. Like, this is a way better team. The Sixers, the Bucks would beat them in 5. Brook Lopez and Giannis is just perfect to guard Joel Embiid, and then Jrue Holiday will just do what everybody else does to get James Harden and just make him fold. Why am I saying up? Cavs, too young. And even that, people are like, oh, they're perfect. They match up with the Bucks. No, the fuck we don't. Like, when we played them last time, we won. Of course, we won. We blew them out, actually. We stopped everybody else. That's when everybody else was in a funk. Drew was in this funk. All the shooters was in a funk. But Giannis still dropped damn near 50. Now that nobody's in their funk no more. We not fucking with them. we not messing with them, bro. Other side, Nuggets. I think they will. No offense to my boy Shot. I hope you watch. I think they would. I think they would do them something crazy. But yeah, that's it for this video, man. Like I said, Bucks, no flaws. I think they're the champions. I will give them the trophy right now. I will put money on them. If you want to, go put money on them. They're dominant. Dominant. Fuck around and be building a dynasty over there. Everybody's wrapped up, basically. Well, other than that, man, that's it for this video. Peace.